to another episode of Horror Movie Night. We are one episode away from 400 episodes.
Whoa. Praise the Lord and pass the loot.
An insane accomplishment, and we end it 399 episodes. The only way we knew we could figure out the sleaziest movie I've seen in a long time, picked by Scott. Scott, how the hell did you
I sure fucking did not pick this movie. Kyle picked this movie.
How did Kyle get 2 picks back to back?
I don't know, and I did not question.
Oh, it really was 2 picks back to back.
Well, so I think that it was the live episode threw something in the mix or something, but I really like listen. I'm a little regretful. Not regretful. I don't regret. I really don't, even though I say I do. I don't, but I'm realizing a theme in my picks that I really need to work on. The theme will reveal itself. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, I'm calling the cops. But we'll get there. This is only the second time. We're still okay.
So Scott, you're owed another pick. I'm gonna try to fix this.
I don't. It's fine, dude. I've been doing this with you for a decade. I've been doing this show with you for 8 years.
Have another pick, though.
I don't know. I'm looking at what else is. Oh no! Those are me reacting to Kyle's picks in the future.
I want to be upset about your future picks, Matt, but I don't know if they're actual real movies based on the spelling.
All right, Kyle, what the fuck is Party Line and how did you find it?
Kyle, I'll let you tell the real reason why you picked this movie, but I have thoughts. I think Kyle picked this movie because of Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah, that's good.
This is such a Vinegar Syndrome pick.
Yeah, and I've realized, I've caught up to a lot of the Vinegar Syndrome things that I'd like to talk about here on this podcast and share with you both and with our general audience. So there's there's plenty out there that I'd love to watch. There's fewer things that I'd like to talk about, but Party Line really rang a few bells. Rang a few phones. There's something here, but there's a lot going on that I thought was it checked a lot of boxes for us. Together and individually as well. Leif Garrett being a major part of that.
Well, so here. This is. I got to talk about this. Mm-hmm.
I need you to talk about it.
There is nothing. There is nothing I could find about this movie on the internet.
No.
The Wikipedia is a 2-sentence plot summary and a cast list. That's all it gives you on Wikipedia. The trivia page on IMDb, 2 pieces of trivia. One of the pieces of trivia is just critics thought the actor playing the detective was miscast.
Yeah.
That's not even a trivia fact.
No, and that's an opinion. That's a general opinion.
And then the second trivia fact, which gave me PTSD for a split second, was the second film in which Leif Garrett plays a transsexual.
No.
Transvestite,
which is I read that and I wrote it down. Well, I mean, just copied it over. Also, 27 out of 30 people found that piece of trivia interesting. So, but anyway,
the second film was
the first
Devil
film,
Times 5.
Devil Times 5, also known as People Toys, which was picked by Brian Kelly,
and it was Brian's worst pick.
Yeah, and he apologized for it. No, this is definitely not your worst pick.
My worst pick.
Not your worst pick this month. But here's the thing: is that I want to know how long IMDb has been around. Now, this is a rhetorical question. I don't actually want you guys to go research and see how long IMDb has been around because transvestite is such an antiquated term.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bad word. I wrote down cross-dressing because I was like, well, I did not need to see Leif Garrett cross-dress again. But it's just so funny because Matt and I are in this Groundhog Day of Leif Garrett dressing up in women's clothing,
I didn't know he was going to do it more than once.
Sexy way. This isn't isn't Gene Simmons in
Never Too Young to Die.
adding on to the recurring theme.
Am I the drama?
We could write this off as, this is going to come out right around the Drag Race finale, so I guess that's something.
And Leif should have been sent home long ago.
Dude. So let me tell you, the dumbest...
Phoning it the fuck
there we
in.
go.
Yeah. There we go. We got to
Oh
the phone
shit!
joke.
Yeah.
What? Oh, you're right. Come on.
I forgot I wasn't there with you.
The dumbest note that I wrote was towards the end of the movie, but I wrote this down and I just started cackling. And it was the scene where Leif attacks the girl in the bathroom when he's in full cross-dress. And I just wrote, this is the future that the right is trying to protect us from.
Well done. Yeah, how'd that old lady get into that club?
Equally, how did that 17-year-old babysitter get into the club and buy a martini for herself and a cop?
and a cop.
This movie's chaos.
That's the worst bar ever.
So maybe it was just water in a martini. Maybe they were like, "We're not gonna sell you a drink," and she was like, "Why don't you just put water in a martini glass for me and that guy over there in the huge jacket?"
Yeah, look at my big coat. I'm an adult.
So for those of you who are not familiar with this movie, which is probably every single listener.
It's on Tubi. Don't worry, it's on Tubi. You can find it.
We got you covered. This movie is kind of interesting in the fact that A, it's sleazy as hell, but B, we know the identities of the killer 5 minutes into the movie. Like it's not a whodunit slasher. We know exactly who done it. But that's also the problem, is because then it becomes more of a Dirty Harry type detective procedural while all this stuff is going on. Which is, I'll talk about this towards the end, but I actually shifted what my double feature was midway through the movie when I was like, It starts with the vibes of one movie, but then by the halfway point, it is absolutely the vibes of a totally different movie. And I'm at risk of both of you picking both of my options, honestly, but I'll still go last just in case.
This movie matches a lot of stuff. I'm just saying.
It does match a lot of stuff, but here's what I'll say. I had fun with this movie while simultaneously knowing I will never watch this movie again. Like I wasn't
100%.
Yeah, like it was like I wasn't miserable watching it, but I was like, this is a one and done for me.
Yeah.
The entirety of the
this
viewing.
Movie, like the rewatch, or not the rewatch, the enjoyment level of a single watch of this movie is because of the insanity of all of the lines. Because like I have a lot of notes, and they're all just lines.
I wrote down 2 quotes that I felt like had to be brought up, but you're right, like the scripting, even just the pacing of this movie. It was definitely written by 12-year-old boys. But I credit where credit's due. Like, it's a 90-minute movie. And throughout the movie, every once in a while, I would do a time check. And it was one of the few times where I was, like, pleasantly surprised how far along we were in the movie. Like, it wasn't like...
It moves. It moves.
Yeah, like, you didn't do the time check, and you're like, oh, no, it's only been 15 minutes. Like, it
wasn't Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's like, time check, cool, 50 minutes. Like, all right, that seems about where we should be.
And as far as, like, a procedural, like, a psychological thriller, I guess is what you would call this, it is like a... I feel like a lot of it's actually shot like a slasher, so I can give it a pass. I mean, I know that
that's partially why I picked it, because it doesn't.
Yeah.
Actually, the second viewing, I feel exactly what you're saying. It was like it's not quite as horror of a movie as I expected, but the sleaze and the way that it's shot sort of gave it a little mo. As we say.
It's almost got this element of like, I don't want to say guerrilla filmmaking, because I don't think that there's like any stolen shots in this, but like you can feel that this was not, they weren't doing multiple takes of this. You know what I mean? Like probably my favorite moment in the movie has nothing to do with the movie, really. It's that they're at the club and this band is playing, and it keeps cutting to the band on stage. And the band just looks like they're having the fucking time of their lives on that stage. And there was somewhere I was just like, man, I bet that they just told them, hey, we're filming a thing for a movie. Just have fun. Because they
I want to believe that's the band that was actually, like, all the music was performed by in the club, because that music is insane.
The music was nuts.
The lyrics are wild,
are crazy, and they come through so clearly. There's not a muffled lyric in the soundtrack.
They were proud of those lyrics. I'm really shocked.
The soundtrack across the board is really weird, because like there's one part that I actually wrote, the music here is gnarly, which is when he opens up the music box and it's like this music box music, and all of a sudden it's like this really dark guitar riff starts playing underneath the music box, and I'm like, this is fucking dope. But then our closing credits is scored to like the Alf theme song. Like it's just like this smooth jazz playing as the credits roll.
It's a little
like
it's
it
a
is
little
all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is it's a lot of things, but a surprise it is not, because we get boobies in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, we do. That's I think when I wrote, God, this movie's sleazy.
I mean, it's
real quick.
It doesn't hold any punches.
No. Well, it pulls a lot of punches, and it's every time the sister and brother the sister smacks around Leif Garrett, her brother, because she's not good. She's not a good, not a good physical actor. There's this one part where, so the conceit of the movie is that there's this brother and sister. They were abused by their parents. Their parents are both dead, and they have their daddy's razor blade. They call a party line constantly, which is such an anachronism, and I love it. It's actually the best part of the movie is the fact that this is like something you have to explain to listeners in 2023. So a party line was like a 900 number, I would say, probably. You'd pay for it back in the 70s and 80s, and you could talk to anybody that was on the line. It was an open line. And so what they're doing is they're using the party line to find victims to lure back to their home and slice up with daddy's razor blade. The woman, the sister, is very obviously domineering of her brother, played by Leif Garrett, who is he had an Oedipal relationship with his mother. The daughter was sexually abused and raped by the father.
So much so that there's, at the bedside table, there's Totem and Taboo by Sigmund Freud during that first initial scene.
Now it makes sense why that's your background.
Well, I'm also in bed with them. I'm also between the two of them.
Don't watch our streams, and they just
which
listen
you
to
should.
our streams. Yeah, our Patreon.
It's only $15 a month to see our faces every week.
HMM podcast. Yeah, but you get a lot. You get a lot of stuff. You get that. You get soundtracking episodes. You get Fear Street pitches. You get the newsletter. You get.
Yeah, our Patreon's pretty dope.
Yeah,
I'll say it.
And we really
say it. I'll go out on a limb. We're a pretty cool Patreon.
But the thing is that we don't talk about it enough. So there's our plug for the day. But anyway, if you are watching us, you can see that Kyle's background is the sister and one of their victims in bed. And I love that you caught that was a Sigmund Freud book on the nightstand. The one song in particular was something along the lines of... you already said praise the Lord and pass the loot. That's the one. And then what was the other one? It was
I didn't write down the other one, which I'm mad about.
Yeah, I thought I wrote it down too, but I know that we're all over the place this week, guys.
That's right.
But so the party line is used by the brother sister killers to lure men, mostly men, sometimes women, back to their house, slice them up, kill them, because they have fucked up childhoods. And so they go to this club, and they the one time she puts on that red wig, my God, she was walking like a robot. Did you guys catch that?
She looked like the red-wigged killer in Terror Firmer.
Yes,
for those
100%.
familiar.
Yeah, it's wild. It's just such it's a thing. And then so they're bringing people back, they're killing them, blah, blah, blah. But they go back to Club Fantasia, and they're there just to party. And there's this song that literally is like an interpolation of I Want to Dance with Somebody. Did you guys catch that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's amazing because you only catch a part of the pre-chorus, and I was like, wait, and I rewound 15 seconds because I thought that they actually had spent all their money on music to get I Want to Dance with Somebody in 1988, but I don't even know if that song exists in 1988. I didn't do enough research. See, that's what I should have been doing my research on for this episode.
No, it would have existed. That would have been on Whitney's first album, which I believe would have been 1986. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
it was close.
There we go.
Yeah, but that was the other song. Those two songs were very, very noticeable.
I want to start with this. So I believe all of us are too young to have experienced a party line, but if I'm understanding a party line correctly, it would be almost like the phone version of, say, jumping into an AOL chat room.
Absolutely.
Where everybody's there chatting, but then you could go and take a private chat with a person from the party line.
No,
the only thing
it does not work that
so you
way.
were always
you were
public.
always on the party line. That's why they were like, you want to meet up, or you could give them your personal phone number and they could call you. But the idea was basically like going to a quote unquote public area. There's some voyeurism here. There's some there's a lot of sexual perversity, or kink.
I guess I wasn't sure if
still exist. I'm pretty sure.
I think you're probably gonna be. I don't know if they exist on like phones as much as it's just like sex hookup apps seem similar now.
So no. So the only reason I say that is I think it was during the pandemic. There was a report on Reply All, and they had actually found that like party lines were still existent, and they were very popular it was popular amongst people in retirement homes during the pandemic who were trapped inside their like bedroom as a way to like call in and just anonymously talk with people. Yeah, like it was like that's the only people that would make sense for in all honesty. But I was like, all right,
them.
Well, you know that retirement homes have some of the highest levels of STDs, so they're probably using just like the people in here. Yeah,
lots of fucking.
But the reason why I want to set that all up is because it was a very expensive thing to call, and that's where we get one of my favorite lines: is two girls hanging out on the party line, and the dad discovers the bill and calls to figure out what it is, and is just so very quickly sucked into the joy of a party line when they're like, are you big and muscly like Samson? And he goes, well, I don't know about this Samson, but you haven't met Big Jack yet.
I love how he uses his real name, and what goes between like regular dad and sexy dad is 2 buttons down his shirt and a necklace.
And a necklace. Yeah. The necklace sells it all. Well, so he's the best character, in my opinion, because...
Why don't we see his murder?
Well, I don't know, man. One of the first... Because I also wanted him to die, even though he was the best character. It was one of those things because he has Big Daddy energy, Big Jack Daddy energy, but the characters that he's interacting with are the babysitters of said kids. So
no, just the one babysitter and the babysitter's friend,
and the babysitter's
who's not supposed to be there,
who shouldn't be there, and he clearly doesn't care about her because she drives her home. He drives her home. He drives both of them home, and he drops off the friend first, and he goes something along the lines of like, "Are you sure you can walk from here?" No telling what kind of perverts. But instead of her answering whether or not she can walk from here, he just goes, "Good night, Alice," and drives away.
The door's open. The door closes from the inertia of the car moving. It's amazing.
Yes. Which then we cut to the next scene in which he tries to hit on the babysitter that he drops off, and clearly describing that he is a pervert. And then we will get into his perversion when he picks up the party line and gets involved. All perverts must die. And then we don't see him. We don't see him killed. It's a damn shame.
No, it's wild. Like it is such a. This movie is so fucking strange. And these girls, the girls that were prank calling the party line indirectly become the heroes of the movie. More so than any detective, which led to the only other quote I wrote down where they have the little girl sitting there. Little girl, she's supposed to be 16. She looks 12, but she's making the phone calls.
Them getting not like she actually looks young, and they got someone who doesn't look like a model, which I loved. For a movie this sleazy, I felt like they did a great job of her and her friend being like quote unquote real.
For sure, because this was prime. Let's cast 22-year-olds as 15-year-olds and get them naked for some weird reason. So like
that wasn't a fun.
She's on the phone line. Yeah, you're like
That's what I'm talking about.
New listeners of the show, beware.
But they're having her just sit on the party line to try to find the person she suspects is the killer, and she's just like hurling insults at any person that's hitting on her that's not the person. And at one point she just goes, "You sound like a eunuch" or something, which is not a word that any 16-year-old in the history of the world has known, specifically in a Game of Thrones world.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Maybe
My
she was
thoughts
playing
exactly.
D&D back then. Who knows?
That's true. She does look like someone who would be playing D&D.
Coming from someone who plays D&D, that's okay. So listeners,
I know that. Yes,
we are not
yes,
shit-talking D&D players.
No.
At the time that we're recording this, one of my
until she
favorite
found the
things to
party
hit the entire internet was the mini Freaks and Geeks reunion video to promote the new Dungeons and Dragons movie.
That's fantastic. I heard it's great, man. I heard it's a lot of fun. And
I mean, if it's being written by people who actually know the game, that's a plus. And then seeing the trailer, the dialogue is on par. Like, the dialogue in the trailer, at least, is on par with the dialogue that a bunch of 20-year-old virgins playing D&D would say. So I'm like, they're nailing this. They're nailing this. This is the vibe it's needed to be this whole time.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for our feeling. Check out our Patreon if you want to hear our feelings on the first Dungeons and Dragons.
That's
movie.
right.
Dungeons and Dragons
That's
2000.
right. Yeah.
Not to be confused with Dracula 2000.
Yeah.
No.
Don't. Spoiler alert. We weren't fans. So the only my note taking was like it would be like a rapid fire bunch of notes for a single scene and then like silence for like 30 minutes and then another scene would happen. The biggest amount of notes that I got was actually right after that bathroom attack scene towards the end of the movie, because I did a time check and I'm like, yo, they're gonna wrap this up in 11 minutes. Like,
And they do.
kind of
A lot happens.
And everything happens in 11
minutes.
minutes.
Although the detective, this may be the slowest commandeering of a vehicle I've ever seen on celluloid.
So I love that idea that this disgraced cop, because he lost his badge before the third act of this movie. So also more backstory for listeners who thankfully have not watched this movie. There's a badass guy cop. There is the sexy blonde DA who he becomes somehow entwined with. And then she's a DA, right?
Yeah, or a federal agent.
Whatever. Maybe she's a coroner. No, not coroner. Whatever she is. She is another
higher up than he is.
Yes. And they are using the teenage babysitter to track down Leif Garrett. And then they're at Club Fantasia, and he like commandeers a car by just waving his fucking revolver at some people, and they're like, okay, I don't know. Personally, if somebody was like, I'm a cop, give me your car, I'd need a little bit more than that to give up my car.
Yeah.
It sucks though that everybody had
that actually makes me want to give up my car less. Like, it actually is like, if that's what you're leading with the gun. I mean, well, actually, that is a pretty
leading with the cop
move.
Part is like, I'm like, no, I'm not giving you my car.
Yeah, I'm fucking not giving you the car.
But then we get to this final. There is 4 minutes left in the movie, because again, I did a quick time check when we got to this moment.
Was the part where Leif Garrett gets kneed in the nuts and then thrown off a balcony before the 4 minute mark or after the 4 minute mark?
That was before the 4 minute mark.
Okay.
At the 4 minute mark, our DA character walks into an indoor pool, which I don't believe we've seen up until this point in the movie. And I immediately was like, okay, so he's getting shot and he's falling into that pool then. And then like 2 seconds later, in comes detective, shoots him, he falls into the pool. And I was like, all right, everything is as it should be.
Yes. It's very, very much a bow on top kind of ending.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't introduce a pool in the last 5 minutes of the movie if there's not going to be a body floating
unless
inside
somebody's
that pool.
floating.
There are two things that
We've learned that as far back as Sunset Boulevard, baby.
Yeah, exactly. You're either going to get shot and exsanguinate into the pool, or you're going to get eaten by a fish monster. There are only two speeds.
There are only two options.
Or Frankenfurter will come from the water and sing a song about dreaming it and being it.
Yes, I was going to say, okay, so then a fourth option is when an electronic ghost puts the pool cover over you.
Well, that's typically not the end of the movie. That's like the middle of the movie, right?
Oh, that is the
middle.
That's
when shit gets
right.
real
That's
because
not
the dog gets killed.
Yeah.
We forget about that.
We don't talk about that. I'm Kyle Kukta, director of The Wound Within and co-host of Horror Movie Night podcast.
And I'm Jeanette Wall, writer of The Wound Within and host of the Horrors of Love podcast.
And we are currently crowdfunding on Seed and Spark to bring this short horror film to life.
A young woman discovers a mysterious lesion on her chest the morning after a disappointing tryst with a new lover. Throughout the rest of her day, she finds that she might not be the only one who's experiencing these unsightly symptoms.
Incentives include opportunities to be part of our podcasts, behind-the-scenes photo books, original soundtrack cassette, and more.
To contribute and make this film a reality, go to seedandspark.com and search The Wound Within.
Oh, Kyle, I heard a little hiss.
Oh, what is that?
Because I have a little hiss too.
Oh, good. So this only matches the energy of the film more than anything else. But I got this little gin and tonic from Greensmith, and it is just. Oh, wow. Actually,
it's perfect because it matches the color of the book.
It matches the book,
yeah,
and it matches Freud. But no, it's just a little canned gin and tonic from Green Hook Gin Smiths out of New York, and it's probably the best canned cocktail I've ever had, and a gin and tonic feels very appropriate for this movie and the next one that we're going to talk about. So I'm only going to have one, and I'll.
They're both your picks anyway. You fuck.
I run this show.
I went with Night Owl from Elysian Brewery. It's not what I want to drink at all because it is a pumpkin ale. It tastes good, but it is not pumpkin ale season anymore, y'all. So I'm literally just doing it for the show.
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
That's it is a good beer in its right season.
Before we do anything else, I've got one last thing I want to say. Mm-hmm. We've been talking about Party Line, right?
Right.
But I want it to have a birthday party line.
Yes.
Because at Creature Feature, we did get a special message that we were supposed to pass on. Kyle, would you like to dive in here? We met a man.
Yes, we met a
diehard fan,
a hell of a man, Mr. Heckman.
David Heckman.
We do not know your age. We do not know what your actual birth date is. However, we are
But
informed
your son asked us to wish you a happy birthday on the show.
Yes,
and thus we will do that.
You were the Dave was the last. David was the last person I met on my way out. It was such a joy to, we've met a lot of people, made a lot of friends, but it's always cool to end the whole weekend on somebody who's been a listener and who has listened and gets to share in that. So and your son was super stoked, and so happy birthday, thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the party line.
Yes. Hey Kyle, what would your double feature with this be?
So I had two, and I think I picked the best of the two for this one, and it's because tonally this movie is so wacky as well. Both of these. So I picked I Saw What You Did, William Castle's I Saw What You Did, which is about two young prank callers who prank call a man who just murdered his wife for Joan Crawford, seemingly. Yeah. They just prank call saying, I know who you are, I saw what you did, and his paranoia ensues, and they try to track him down, and it's just it matches completely. And actually, a shout out to Dylan Young from Video Nasties sent me that Blu-ray when he sent me my favorite Pieces shirt. Finally got around to watching it maybe a month or two ago, and it matches perfectly with Party
Scream
Line.
Factory put that out on Blu-ray, and it was one that I got when they were sending out the review copies still. And I was like, this is fucking fun. It's not
Short,
fun.
One
that I think we would ever do for the show, but I was like, this was worth the 70 minutes or whatever it takes to watch.
Yeah.
How about you, Scott?
So I feel bad because I'm pretty sure this is one of the ones that you would be going for, but this really just I had to look up Leif Garrett to see if he was in my double feature because I was like, could be Blood Rage.
No, that wasn't mine, but okay,
well,
yes,
So
I get it.
Blood Rage, I feel like it's very similar in the slasher aspects of it. It feels, and also they're both absolutely unhinged, and the pool scene at the end of both.
All right, so I'm going to say both of the ones that were running through my head, and then Kyle, let me know if I took either one of the ones you were thinking about when you said that you had a second one. But when I first started this movie, the whole vibe of people tracking their victims through a party line, I was like, ooh, is this going to be Out of the Dark, which had the sex hotline vibe? And if it's my pick on what I want to watch after this, that's my pick. I'd rather watch that than what...
Kyle, have you seen it?
Yeah, he was on that episode.
He was? All four of us?
Yeah.
Then? Oh man,
that was an All Four of Us episode.
Good movie. That was Brian's best pick ever.
100%. And that's the one I would rather watch. But about halfway through the movie, I was like, oh no. This movie hits the vibe and the tone and the sleaziness of a movie that's actually starting to like get reappreciated a little bit. It is definitely a film we will never, ever, ever, ever do on this show. But Cruising. It reminded me so much of the tone and vibe of Cruising, which is a really interesting movie. I think it's a film that, at the time it came out, it was very much depicted as like, this film hates gay people. And now I think it's starting to get reevaluated as like, or this movie was trying to warn people of how dangerous homophobia was. Like it can go either way depending on the lens you want to watch it through. But just like, detective constantly in a club trying to get people who are like doing quote unquote sleazy things behind the scene, and like I'm pretty sure that's all razor blade across the neck murders as well. So it very much felt like it was a brother sister combo in in the same way that this movie is a brother sister.
Well, they forget. I mean, Friedkin has done other like gay movies, like Boys in the Band, and then other aspects of his films have.
Yeah, so I don't think he's he really doesn't have a homophobic bone in his body. I think he was very much intending to to
he's a
raise
prick
awareness
sometimes, but he's but he does okay.
Yeah. What was the second one you were thinking about?
I was picking one called Lisa. It was about a 14-year-old who seduces men through the phone. It was a VHS PS pick that, in theory, I don't really remember. It was just like content-wise, it was similar.
It's got some like hard candy vibe just from the explanation, and that's a movie that I would not want to watch again. That movie is just very painful.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Well, so Kyle, I know that your double features were both things that you fairly recently watched, but what is something that you very recently watched or read or listened to or whatever that you want to talk about?
Well, I'll tell you a quick little story. I took a quick trip up to Syracuse University, my alma mater, for Industry Day. Somehow they invited myself and friend of the show, Evan Fonseca, up there to represent the film program.
Love it.
Which was awesome. It was a blast, but it was exhausting. It was exhausting to talk with all the kids and students that were, for a whole Friday, from like 9 a.m. to 4:30, just kind of relaying stories and advice and whatever. It was very rewarding, but very exhausting. So we went to go pick up some food at a place called Possibilities that my wife really likes. So I actually picked up food for Carly to bring home. But on the wall of Possibilities, the host decided to pick Motocrossed and project it on the wall. So Motocrossed is a retelling of the 12th something Shakespeare.
12th Night?
12th Night, yeah.
Wait, what?
This is a motor. This I believe it was a Disney Channel original film.
The 26th Disney Channel original film. As we've come to
when
find
was
out.
it
I think
from?
It's 26th.
Early 90s?
2001, 2002, maybe.
Okay, it was definitely a blind spot in my
Yeah. It was not. Yeah. So like, I was not a Disney Channel kid really at all.
Neither.
But Evan spotted it immediately, recognized it on the wall, and so instead of going out and enjoying any more of beautiful Syracuse, New York, we went back to our hotel, watched Motocrossed on his laptop because we couldn't get the HDMI plugs out of either of the two TVs in our room. So we're just sitting on the couch watching Motocross. Look, it's a boring fucking movie, but as like one of those sort of like early-ish Disney Channel movies where they're trying to incorporate extreme sports, and
it's not the worst of the options.
No, it's not, and it's got some crazy music drops, and it's just, and by music drops, Muzak drops. There's no needle drop really. It's I think crazy music that they make.
No, Motocross might be the one. I think it's the one that has Juliana Theory on the top of the world in it.
Really?
Because I remember that they went on the record and they were like, yeah, it's the only time we ever had our song in a movie and not the ideal not the ideal one for us.
No,
but we'll take it.
It's got the mom from Dawson's Creek in it. And I think cameos by Travis Pastrana and some other people.
That's not
of
a real
that
name.
Ilk. Travis Pastrami. More of anything, it's a fun one to experience because of the time and the place, but even more watching it with a friend, falling asleep in your hotel room.
Love it. All right, Scott.
I finally watched Landlocked, which is a movie that Kyle posted on the Facebook group. You had seen it in the festival circuit last year, is that correct?
Yeah, I saw it at Chattanooga Film Festival, and then they got distribution top of this year.
Yeah, I watched it on Prime, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I didn't live message the guys about it, but I did say, Kyle, I'm going to watch this. I'm pretty excited, and you're excited to hear my thoughts. And my thoughts were positive, but at the same time, I would have liked to see them go a little bit into a less predictable place with the movie. But it's more of a rumination instead of it's a rumination on like childhood and childhood places. I'm fine with that. I just wanted it to be something a little bit more avant-garde, something a little bit more, I don't want to say edgy, but you know what I mean? I wanted them to take a chance on the story a little bit more.
I think that's kind of fair though. That's the fair word for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they did a great job with a shoestring budget. I feel like they could have spent an extra $1,000 and gone where I really wanted them to go, but it's fine. But it's good. I think that it's a good movie to watch. I wish that I was ecstatic about it, but as far as movies that I've seen this year so far, new quote-unquote movies, because I think it is technically a 2022 movie, but I would consider it a 2023 movie.
I think when that comes to that, I feel like a general release or a general public release is kind of the actual release date of it.
I would say it's the best new movie I've seen this year, right?
Oh, right on.
But I haven't seen a whole lot, so
right.
But it's good. I just felt like it had the kernel of something kind of fucked up, and I wanted that, but it's all right.
Yeah.
And then Matt, what about you?
Well, first I'm going to start with a quick little advertisement because we are in the peak of genre television right now. So if you're a fan of genre television, check out this Geekscape show, Bingetown Television. Bingetown TV on any podcasting app. They are right now covering the new episodes of both Yellow Jackets and Succession and The Mandalorian every week. So if you're watching any of those shows, they do a really great deep dive recap, so check that out.
Nice.
But what I am going to discuss is my friend Tommy Avalone has been making some kick-ass documentaries for a couple years now. A few of my favorites from him was, of course, the I Am Santa Claus documentary he did starring Mick Foley about the life of mall Santas. He made the Bill Murray stories that was on Netflix for a while about people.
Still reference that Santa Claus documentary to me because they were disturbed.
Teary-eyed watching it. Oh, yeah. I get teary-eyed watching it. It's a sad documentary.
Yes.
But he now has a 2-part doc that's on Peacock called I Love You, You Hate Me, which is about the history of Barney the dinosaur. And the first half is the I Love You part, which is all about the humble beginnings of Barney the dinosaur and this woman who was trying to create a character for her child who didn't really have a lot of friends, and the way that just quickly caught fire and became this small tape trading thing before eventually getting the phone call from PBS and all of their hopes and dreams coming true. And then the You Hate Me second half of it is all about the tide turning and the colleges throwing destroy Barney parties and the giant attitude shift of fuck this annoying dinosaur and its annoying songs and everything that it stands for, edginess of the 90s, and as well as what happens when you create a character to help a lonely child and that character becomes so popular that even his mother doesn't have time for him anymore type vibe. And it goes into some pretty dark places, but it's it's really well made. Tommy almost always hits stuff out of the park. He's currently working on another doc that I'm very excited about, all about people who live in homes that were used in famous movies. And he sent me a 10-minute clip of the people who live in the McAllister house from Home Alone. That
great.
Was just like fascinating. Like it's I cannot wait for whenever that is ready to be seen. But the footage he showed me of that looks fantastic. So
nice.
Check out I Love You, You Hate Me, and also just, hey, support any of your friends who are making cool shit. Like, I don't know, Kyle Kupka, who's got a Seed and Spark thing going on right now that may or may not be. Yeah, you've got a week left to make a donation by the time Party Line comes out.
Yes. So. Okay, so you might hear an ad, you might not. So here's my ad. The Wound Within is the name of the short. We are currently fundraising on Seed and Spark. It is about a woman who discovers a lesion on her chest, and she discovers lesions on those around her, but they may or may not be real. It is Cronenbergian body horror meets House of Psychotic Women. It is an allegory for addiction recovery, and it is my very best friend, one of my very best friends, Jeanette Wall, because we all run together. She's fantastic. She's the host of Horrors of Love podcast, which is a pretty cool one to check out for like deep dives on horror movies through the lens of love and gender and sexuality and all the good stuff. But it's her first screenplay, and I'm honored to help bring this to life. We have some cool incentives. We have some cool people involved. We're going to do some practical effects, which I'm so stoked on.
Yes.
It'll be my first time working for practical effects. So if you want to see that be a thing, then find us on Seed and Spark, The Wound Within, if you want to check it out.
And you got to finance that movie to make sure that it is as good, if not better, than 1988's Party Line, which we discussed this week here at Horror Movie Night. We will be back next week with episode 400. It'll be a little bit of a break of our regular format. Usually we're discussing a movie. But in next week, we are living through an hour horror movie as ourselves, Camp Nightmare, Jersey Ghouls, and Dylan from Christmas 365 get on stage live at the Creature Feature Weekend to talk about our horror hot takes, and Dylan tries to fight a dude at one point. So stay tuned for who did Dylan try to fight? I don't fully know, even listening back to it. But if you figure it out, let us know at Horror Movie Night.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.